little earlier than that. However, prediction of rain from around 11 a.m. Now, what we really don't want is a damp squib ending to what has been a monumental race so far. Into the garage, the 29 car. It's one of our regular European Le Mans Series races, and that car has had more trouble than I've had hot dinners this week. In fact, that's had a lot more trouble than I've had trips into the Porsche hospitality this week.
Yes.
And Leo Roussel is back in. Tristan Gomendi, though, is ready to take on Thierry by TDS's Ligier prototype, Orica prototype. And is that it now coming down pit road? Now, that looks rather more Ferrari shaped to me. But the number 29 prototype in the garage, troubling the Pegasus Racing team. They had problems right at the very start, got penalised 2 or 3 times early in the race, and it's been back in the garage several times, as well as parked in various bits of off-road scenery.
One question I'd like to ask Jeremy. Jeremy, Johnny Molan was in yesterday, and he was talking about the Porsche batteries that are being charged and discharged multiple times, and he thought that by the end of the race they would be not working nearly as well as they are at the start.
True.
Is that a factor?
Yeah, Martin, you gave a very good explanation of that earlier in the race. I think it's very well worthwhile repeating.
Well, absolutely so, and this is one of the things I was talking to Mike Conway about earlier before we sent them out onto the grid and the drivers got into their cars, and talking about the various different ways in which hybrid power is harvested and released. And essentially what you're doing is filling a big bucket full of electricity in an instant and then emptying it again over the course of a lap. And the way you fill your bucket is fairly similar. All the cars are using, like Formula One cars do, energy harvested from the brakes. So when they get on the brakes here, you hear that whine of the harvesting system. What's happening there is predominantly it's spinning up an electrical motor, or a
reverse, like you were a spring, effectively.
A motorator. Essentially, if you think of a starter motor on a car, you put electricity in, it turns. If you think a generator, a dynamo, you turn it, it produces electricity. Well, the drive system, the recovery system is the same. There's drive shafts going to the front wheels, and as the wheels turn under braking, the weight of the car keeps them turning. As you're trying to slow it, the momentum of the car keeps them turning, and that spins up the electric motor, which then sends power into the battery. When you're accelerating, you send power from the battery back to the electric motor, just like your Scalextric's car, and that helps to propel the car forward. So it comes in and goes out very, very fast. And there, essentially in this field, 3 different ways of harvesting the energy. You've got a lithium-ion battery system in the Porsche, so you're charging a battery and discharging it very quickly. And lithium-ion, the sort of very expensive batteries you get in phones and other very small high-tech devices, you know, cameras, iPods and whatever else. Supercapacitor used in the Toyota, and the way that was explained to me is with a battery, imagine a small water bottle. You've got a neck that's probably just about big enough to stick your thumb in. If you make that, instead of a 33 centilitre or half a litre bottle, into an 8 litre bottle with a battery, you've still got a hole at the top big enough to put your thumb in, and so the flow rate in and out, never mind what the capacity of the battery is about the same for a small battery as for a big battery. With the supercapacitor, if you have an 8 litre bottle, you have a commensurately much bigger inflow and outflow, or ingress and egress, of power. The final system here is used on the Audi, and it's a flywheel, basically like the Williams flybridge system. It's this incredibly dense, huge mass, about the size of a curling stone, but made of carbon fibre, unbelievably accurately balanced. This spins it up to 65,000 RPM, and essentially, when your car generates electricity, it turns the whole housing of the flywheel into a kind of electromagnet which spins the flywheel up, and then when you want the power by braking the flywheel, it generates electricity, kind of vaguely, this is my understanding of it, and fires it back into the motors. So that is least likely to degrade. it's like a gyroscope that we had when we were kids. Ask your fathers, children. Basically, you put energy in, it keeps spinning almost indefinitely, and then you take energy out. It doesn't degrade. You charge your phone often enough and discharge it, or any battery, it will eventually stop taking a charge so easily. It'll take longer to charge, and it'll take less time to discharge because it won't hold the charge so well. And that, to a degree, is what's going to happen to the supercapacitors in the Toyota, but to a larger degree is going to happen to the batteries in the Porsche. So Porsche's system will be best at the beginning of the race, or in the best condition it can be in the beginning of the race, like the whole of the rest of the car, presumably. It's probably more affected by greater ambient temperature than the other systems. Now, we've heard various people at Audi over the last couple of hours, not on air, but we have heard them saying it, that they are now not producing the performance to match Porsche that they were in the daylight hours. Now that... Okay, so the number 9 Porsche, Audi rather, that's Felipe Albuquerque, just ran into the back of that Ferrari there, and he says, I think the nose is fine. Copy, we've seen that in this lap anyway, so they're going to bring him in for a check because he's in 3rd place, and we're not taking any risks with the car going off the road because of damage we can't see in the dark at 250 miles an hour. Where was I? Final thought, yeah. So ambient temperature is much lower, track temperature is much lower, air temperature is much lower, and that allows the Porsche to keep its battery system cooler when the air goes up again, when the track temperature comes up again, when the sun's on it, should that happen and should it not rain. Porsche's current performance advantage will come back to where it was in the daylight hours on Saturday, i.e. it'll cease to exist, and we'll have Porsche and Audi again at almost exactly the same performance. Whether Audi's performance then manages to creep in front of Porsche's as the battery system continues to degrade depends on the weather, the temperature and everything else. And nobody in Porsche has admitted to me that their power and performance is going to continue to dive. However, their rivals, who are a lot cleverer than me and are watching a lot closer than me and measuring everything a lot closer than me, are convinced that that is going to be the case. Albuquerque's in then, after that little dink at the end of the braking area with the Ferrari, and just a quick double check, clean up, fresh water bottle, and I'm guessing they're just going to brim him and send him out again.
Yeah, because he was absolutely due a pit stop in any case. So right on schedule here. The fact that he got the call to come in was coincidental to that minor contact that appeared to be with the GT car.
Very briefly, going back to your point, Martin, going back to the hybrid systems, I believe that the battery systems, I believe that next year Toyota are dropping they've announced that they're dropping the supercapacitors.
I think they believe that they're going to have to. I think they believe that the solution that they came up with, and Porsche, Audi and Toyota have not, apart from the fact that the cars have got 4 wheels and low drag, not really got one element in common in any of their recovery and delivery systems and storage systems. Toyota believed over the winter that they had made a step forward. Unfortunately for them, all the others made a Carl Lewis triple jump leap forward, and they have just been left absolutely flailing in the wake, going, what the heck happened here? So there is nothing in Toyota now, you've got to believe, that is not up for discussion. But how does that sit with the regulations? The deal here is, after this race, the ACO will balance out the performance in the classes of the manufacturers, based on the assumption that people may sandbag to get a better deal. You're not going to come to Le Mans and sandbag on behalf of some other races over the next 12 months. The ACO will reset the boundaries for performance and do weight and restrictors and all the other kind of things you can do to try and rein in your runaway leaders and give a little bit of a performance break to the guys who probably need it best. And in that case, you're looking at Toyota. So they're not necessarily going to look at designing a whole new car for next year if the ACO can balance the field so Toyota are once more competitive. What they will have to probably look at is throwing the baby and the bathwater out when the new regulations come in for 2017, which we believe the ACO will introduce to stop the cars going another 5 seconds quicker with another development. Because frankly, at the moment, we don't need them to be 5 seconds a lap quicker. They could be 20 seconds a lap slower. They're still racing wheel to wheel, door handle to door handle, and that's what we want. The actual empirical number is neither here nor there.
It isn't, but I have to say that I think the fact that the technology is so impressive, the speeds are so high, has attracted a lot of people here this weekend. So I certainly wouldn't want to see them clip back too much. I mean, you can't, when you're looking at the cars from the outside, you can't really tell they're going 5 seconds a lap faster. And I'd say that primarily because most of the performance gain is on the exit of the corners, not through the corners. It's not even necessarily the end of the straightaways. It's the beginning of the straights.
It's the speed of acceleration.
Exactly. From that hybrid system that produce that extra power coming off the corners.
And it's the technology that is making sports car racing so attractive to the manufacturers. And we hear that there's a lot of people sniffing around at the moment.
And I think that's it. You know, the ACO runs an open door policy for technology. Is that door closed? No, that door is not closed. Well spotted, the man watching the monitor in the television in the back of the office, who says the door's not closed. Good boy, well done. I'm glad his eyes are about as tired as mine. In front of him, though, oh, there you go. Now we were talking about drivers' minimum weight and having to keep an eye on it and making sure you drink all your drink, because there's no pudding if you don't. There you can see checking the weight, or the weight being checked by an official before he gets in the car. His weight will be checked afterwards. And you think, okay, why do you do that? Well, because there has to be a minimum average weight for the driver lineup in the team. And if they're all flyweights compared to big heavy blokes, you have to weight up the car to meet that conceptual maximum. Eurosport Live at Le Mans, middle of the night with a little over 10 hours of the race to go. Gravel on the track at zone 25. That is the left-hander at Indianapolis. And a black and white flag for car 26 for unsafe return to the track. Gee, I wonder whether those could be related. That means that the number 26 car, the G-Drive LMP2 prototype that was started second in class by Sam Bird, has gone off, I'm assuming, at Indianapolis, and Roman Rusinov came shooting back on the track without really knowing what was coming around the corner at high speed. Coming back out from the garage is our AM Class 98 Aston Martin. This is the car that Matthias Lauda brought into the pits a few minutes ago, a couple of minutes ago, in the lead of the class, ahead of Alexander Basov of Russia, who is in the 72 Ferrari. Bill Sweedler up to third, by the way, in the 62 Ferrari. That's the Scuderia course car that we were seeing stopping about, I guess, 3 laps ago, 10 minutes ago. Townsend Bell stepped out. Bill Sweedler is in it. Pat Long in 4th place in the 77 car. That's the one he shares with Patrick Dempsey. The Dempsey racing car, the 3rd driver of which is Marco Seefried. And there's the G-Drive car looping around Roman Rusinov, I think getting in a little hot behind the other P2 car right in front and spinning it rather than clattering into him. Now let's see where the unsafe return to the track comes from.
Presumably he can just about get out of that.
Yeah, he's only just going. In fact, he might even have a left rear still on terra firma. And I think probably he fired it up and then just drove straight onto the track, showering gravel right in somebody's path. On pit road, race leader Earl Bamber, one of 3 standout Kiwis in the field. Of course, Porsche have got 2 in their driver lineup and an Aussie, so they've fully got the antipodes covered. Earl Bamber, Brendan Hartley, and Mark somebody, Formula 1 driver.
Yeah, X.
That's the one.
Yes.
And Bambi, well, again, like Brendan Hartley, known this guy a long time, coming up racing in Europe, and such a successful career over the last few years. Former commentary partner of mine in various different guises, as well as racing driver. And the race leader heads back out and should retain the lead after
Quick stop.
17th stop for that car. Just fuel and a wash. And back out, Ben Treluyer has taken over the number 7 car from Andre Lotterer. That Audi is in 2nd, ahead of Felipe Albuquerque's number 9 car in 3rd. Brendan Hartley in 4th place, so the entire Kiwi driving strength of Porsche is on track. 5th, Lucas Di Grassi in the delayed number 8 car that had a crash early on the Audi and unsurprisingly walked away from it, brushing the dust off its jacket. And in 6th position is the number 18 Porsche of Romain Dumas. So we got Porsche, Audi, Audi, Porsche, Audi, Porsche. Then Toyota in team formation, as they have been all race, in 7th and 8th. 2 in front of 1 at the moment, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. Dodo Kreiheimer in the Rebellion, number 13 car, which so far has been... See, I'm going to regret saying this now, aren't I? Pretty much trouble-free, whereas the red car, the number 12, has been all sorts of heartache for them. So Dodo at the moment, 9th place, 10th overall, and comfortably still, and I do hope we can say this, not for anybody else's detriment, but for their sake, leading in the LMP2 class, at least into the final hour, but still only just in front of a pretty decent battle with the Thierry by TDS car. KCMG leading in LMP2, Thierry by TDS, Tristan Gomedy chasing Matt Howson. Roman Rusinov has just pitted after that gravel trap trip in the number 26 Ligier, the G-Drive car. Nat Berton 4th for Murphy's Prototypes. So if Greg Murphy comes back in later, hopefully he'll be just as happy. Simon Dolan 5th in the Gibson run by Mighty 38. That is the Jota Sport team, and that is an Oak Racing car at the side of the track. Is that Lawrence Von Tour? Is that Pipo Durrani? No, it's not. It's 30 or 34 or 35 would be the Oak Racing car. Which one is it? If you see a big flash of white, it is the 35 car on the tail fin. And
yeah,
so
surprise, surprise.
More gravel on the track.
That's Jean-Marc Merlin. So that is the all-gentleman driver lineup. We talked about how you have to have at least 1 gentleman driver in your LMP2 car. In fact, they've got 3 gentleman drivers. Jacques Nicolet, the man who runs Oak Racing, Onroque and Ligier, also bought from the creditors when Pescarolo went up for auction, bought Pescarolo Racing, handed it back, lock, stock and barrel, free, gratis and for nothing to Henri Pescarolo. So a gentleman, a scholar and a racing fan through and through. Pole sitter in the pro class is in the pits, and also the race leader, Richie Stanaway. We talked about Kiwis on track. Here's your 3rd one in the 99 Aston Martin. But again, Jeremy Shaw has been right in the thick of the GTE Pro Class action from pole, from the start of the race, and remains in there. Now,
is this a brake change?
Yeah, it looks like a brake change.
Somebody did ask how many cars are likely to need brake changes. Well, in the prototype class, hopefully none. In the GT class, they may well all do. Oh, my Lord. Didn't I say it was too early to say anything? In the garage, the number 13 Rebellion, but there was a nose cone out there, so is the number 12 in as well?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, it's been in for a little while, Nick Heidfeld, but still running, still showing the 18th place overall. And whatever happens, it's been a really, really impressive performance by Rebellion Racing. These cars, we've talked about it several times, just the one test at Paul Ricard before they came to Le Mans test day, so minimal running and an excellent job. They knew those engines, they're using a little bit more oil that would be preferable, but they've run strongly, and I think, yeah, it's fair to say, is it likely to have run 14 hours that well, you know, right out of the box? Probably not, quite frankly. No. So I think they're going to be anything a bit farther on from here is going to be a bonus.
Superb job. 34 Ligier. This is the pro car for the Oak Racing team. Laurens Vautour, multiple race winner and double champion in the GT3 Blancpain Sprint and Endurance Series. Not many places at Le Mans you loop the car around and don't hit anything at all.
Except almost another car.
Yeesh. Well, that's a pro class Aston. Is that why the 99 came in? Had a green backing to number, so it's a pro class car, so it's either 99 or 95 now, because they're the only ones left.
Well, 99 cars, that was on his out lap.
Well, I wonder if that was a replay from his in lap or his out lap. Fernando Reis possibly looping it around, or in the 95 car, Marco Sørensen, ex-single-seater ace, and part of the Dane train in the 95 car.
Now that's one of the chicane, that's the first chicane on Mulsanne.
Is that a just out of the pits Oak Racing Ligier? It's only got one rear light, and there's a bit of debris in the middle of the gravel. And, oh, Aston Martin, and that's the Thierry by TDS car. And that is the blue light on the Aston. That's the 99 car went through the gravel. The blue door mirror light, I'm sure, is the 99 car. Thierry by TDS. Tristan Gomendi has he only recently taken over that car? Didn't we just see him in the garage 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago? Or am I making it up? Second place in LMP2. You can see the blue lights beside the number. Blue is the category nominator for LMP2. 2 lights means he's second in that class, or was, because that now will promote Roman Rusinov, a fellow gravel trap devotee, in the last 20 minutes in the G-Drive car up to second, and if they're not careful, Murphy's prototype will be up to third with Nat Berton, their new boy this year, in the car.
And yeah, Roman Rusinov did make a pit stop a couple laps ago, so he's a couple of minutes behind Tristan Gomendi, but Gomendi's still not yet got the fire back in that car.
He binned it in the gravel at Indianapolis and spent a couple of minutes there. Well, the Aston turned in behind. Well, he turned in behind the slow Ligier and thought there was going to be more of a gap than there was, or, as you say, missed the brakes.
Completely missed his braking point, and I think he's just coming out of the pit lane
with fresh calipers.
Yeah, exactly.
With fresh rotors. So
that was not
brand new brakes. Do not brake quite the same way. I think he probably,
no question, in my mind.
So that was on his out lap, having had new brakes fitted. He clearly thought there was going to be more bite than there was. In which case, if he came in with a long pedal, maybe that wasn't it. Now, you can see on the face of that team member,
frustration.
And, you know, near heartbreak there, because their car is still stationary at the side of the track, having been clattered hopelessly hard from behind. However, it was from behind. If he can get it fired up, should be able to drive it back. Double wave yellows.
And the 96 Aston is obviously limping back to the pits.
99. That was his out lap.
Yeah, well, man, more heartbreak for Aston Martin. I mean, Was it how many years is in a row now they've looked kind of set to win the race?
Here he comes.
And it slips away. And
now, hang on a minute. That is an orange door mirror. The 99 car has got a blue door mirror, so 96 is creeping in. The car that hit that prototype, I thought, had a blue door mirror as it flew through the gravel trap. This is Stewie Hall. What's up with the 96 car? They've had a lot of delays already, and he is coming back in. Olivier Beretta's on pit road in a 71 Ferrari. Jimmy Bruni lies third in the 51 AF Corsa Ferrari. AF Corsa won the GT Pro Class last year with their Ferrari. Stewie Hall would have won the Aston Martin race today. He was in the stunning V12 Lola Aston Martin that he raced in period, or nearly raced in period.
Sometimes raced in period.
Well, nearly raced in period at Le Mans, but unfortunately for him, starting from the pit lane with a lap deficit, the race got safety card and then red flagged before he'd had a chance to whale his way through the entire field twice.
So the Jimmy Bruni car, Bruni v Lando Fisichella, that car has won 2 of the last 3 years and finished second in 2013.
Still looking on my timing screen to seeing what is happening with Fernando Reis's 99 Aston Martin. Well, there's no impact damage on the front of Stewie Hall's car, so whatever else ails the 96, it ain't that it just ran into the back of the Thierry by TDS car.
No, that's right.
Fernando Reis's last lap was a 6 minutes 16.
Fuel only.
Ventrelier coming in, Lena Gade on the radio, and she's not only good with her ability to work a race, but she's so clear and concise on the radio. There is never,
you couldn't go wrong on that, could you?
Confusion, no. Absolutely. 60 kilometers an hour. It must feel like you've hit a wall head on when you've been doing 320, 330 plus kilometers an hour down the straights. When you come off a motorway in your own car and you have to drive through town at 30, it's so hard to keep the speed down because you're used to things passing you at that pace. Imagine what it's like here. It'd be like coming off a motorway at 150 miles an hour and driving through town. Putting in the new drinks canister. Checking on the stopwatch. And away the car goes, full of fuel. Just unbelievably well rehearsed. Little delayed shot there from the onboard camera. Again, what a revelation modern technology is in the racing cars, but also in our appreciation of this race. Jeremy, and Chris as well, of course, when we first started coming to Le Mans, you had to stand at the side of the track at 1/2 every hour, and for 5 minutes, Bob Costanduris got to speak in English, bring you up to date with what was happening, and then for the remaining 55 minutes on the public address tannoy, everything was in French. And of course, in that 5 minutes, if you wanted to have any clue of what was happening, nothing loud had to go by. Now at Le Mans, that's pretty darn tough.
Especially in those days when they were even noisier than they are, most of them are now. The Mazdas.
Yeah, well, the Mazda, if the Mazda was still running, you just basically from start to finish in the race had no idea what was happening. Rotor change for the 64 car, and this the sole Corvette in the race, not just the only one in GTE Pro, the only one left. Tommy Milner is your race leader in class. Fernando Reis has now
and I think
completed a second sector on this lap.
Not sure this is entirely scheduled. Not exactly sure when this car last came onto pit lane. I wasn't expecting him right now. It stopped at 2:30, 3:30.
Well, hang on a minute. There are four guys working on this car.
That's right, isn't it? You can have 4 people.
I thought it was still only 2 people working on the car at any time. 98 is going, 99 rather, is in. It's a Bitzer. There's bits of it missing at the front.
Yeah.
There you are. That's a collector's car. He's left some bit for somebody else to collect. That is the car then that did the damage, and it's been a good 5 minutes, getting on for 10. In fact, no, his last lap was 4:42, but that was off a 6-minute out lap. So he has been out of the pit lane for 10 minutes since they changed the brakes on the car. And in the interim, he's done 8 miles and an awful lot of damage. He's taken the LMP2 second place car out of the race. Brand new brakes, not up to temperature, I'm suspecting, by the first application on the Mulsanne straight, because that is the first chicane. And I'm afraid G-Drive, well, Roman Rusinov still in second place, but surely that can't be for long. His car has done 107 second sector 2. Leader's only done 100 second sector 2. Can that car be moving?
Well, we've still got the slow zone there out at the
Yeah.
second chicane, which is sector 2.
And there is still debris in zone 21 offline. Now that is
probably bits of Aston Martin, I would imagine.
Yeah, that is exiting the Mulsanne corner, so bits of the Aston, or possibly, oh dear,
Yeah, don't like the
water
dripping
leak
bit
there. Fernando Reis in second place in the pre-class, but the race leader is also on pit road. Tommy Milner in the Corvette. Is this the class that no one wants to win? Jimmy Bruni now jumps to the front of the field in one fell swoop as he comes past the pit lane and onto the Mulsanne straight. The 51 Ferrari at a stroke takes the lead away from Aston Martin and Corvette.
Yes, but have Corvette pulled the car in for a service, and is that it going out again?
That's it rolling again.
Yeah,
with
they've done
brakes.
Yep, complete service while the Aston was in trouble.
By the way, as you see them going out the pit lane before they get to the arch, you see a row of cones making 2 lanes of the pit lane into 1. And the reason they're doing that this year and have never done it before is at the end of that row of cones are a set of barcode scanners. All of the tyres on all of the cars have a barcode, and the barcode reader tells race control what is on the car. And if you are in the LMP1 class, you will have 12 sets of tyres that you're allowed, 12 different sets you're allowed to use. You can use them as many times as you like, but you're not allowed to use more than that. And in GT, 16 sets, and the barcode scanners will tell race control if you've been naughty and used more than you did or should have had.
Another spinner at the second chicane.
That's a Ferrari, and it looks like it's got a puncture. Talking of Ferrari and GT, 60s were the big scene of the Ford versus Ferrari wars at Le Mans, when Henry Ford, much miffed by Enzo Ferrari agreeing to sell the company and then going, oh, do you know what? Actually, no. Decided that he would take Enzo on at his old game and beat him at Le Mans. And which Ferrari is it? It's an AM class Ferrari. And is that the 62 car, Bill Sweedler? I'm afraid I don't recognise the windscreen colouring. I recognise
the numbers aren't illuminated on that.
No,
one.
and that's going to be an issue for them as well. Stracker is in, 17 Porsche is in. Didn't spot that. Brendan Hartley is now in 4th place and returns to the race without gaining or losing.
Scheduled stop once again for number 17 Porsche, 13 laps once again.
Only 13 still in the dead of the night. Still not up to 14 laps. Is it still only... which was the car that did manage 14? Is it 19?
Number 8 car did actually on a couple of occasions.
Well, I thought one of the Porsches had. I do remember talking to you in the dim and distant. Brendan Hartley from Palmerston North, in the land of the long white clouds. One of 3 Kiwis on track at the moment, although I'll rescind that because Richie Stanaway is not on track at the moment in the 99 Aston Martin.
No, not under green. It's been 13 laps for the Porsches pretty much every single time.
Are you keeping track of regular servicing in Aston Martin land as well? 95, Marco Sorensen has handed over to fellow Dane Train member Christopher Nygaard. So that will be a full 3-stint section. So for these cars, fully 3 hours in the GT Aston Martins. And they are currently running in 6th in class, or last as we call it, because the other GTE Pro cars have retired. And I have to say, they may soon go up to 5th in class. It might be a few more laps, but not that many few more laps. But that they're only 3 laps off the race lead, and they're only going to be 2 laps off this car very soon indeed.
Yeah, there's the 99 Aston still being worked on in P2. Meanwhile, Roman Rusnov, car number 26, that's a G-Drive Ligier, that is now moved up into 2nd place, and behind him Nathaniel Berton into 3rd place in the Murphy Prototypes, car number 48. Those cars, each of them just about a lap apart. I don't think Rusnov is quite a lap behind, or maybe he is, because the number 47 car has just been on pit lane. Matt Howson had just made a pit stop.
And you can see Simon Dolan has moved up to 4th, for Jota up to 5th, Pipo Derani up to 6th, Lawrence Van Torkens, Tristan Gomendi in the number 46 Ligier is plunging down the Orica rather, the Thierry by TDS order is plunging down the order as he is stuck at the first chicane on the Mulsanne and cannot move. So Tristan Gomendi still out on track and somehow trying to get the car back to the team. Back at Le Mans, yellow flags out at the first chicane here in the, where are we now? 15th hour of the race, just under 9 hours, 51 minutes to go. And drama for the number 46 Thierry by TDS car, which was run into by an Aston Martin in the GT class fresh out of the pit lane. We've just seen it craned away, and it looks for sure as if it is the end of the road. The team feared as much, I'm afraid, when they saw the incident. Tristan Gomendi hit from behind, under braking by the 99 Aston Martin of Fernando Reis. Reis clearly going for the brake pedal and finding nothing at home when he came calling. And that means that the car that was second in the LMP2 class pretty much all the way through and was showing great pace in the chase of the race, leading Oreca Coupe, is now out hors de combat. We have yet to receive confirmation. In fact, on our timing screen, it now tells us that Tristan Gomedy is in the pit. So he has been craned, but it seems landed on terra firma, because he's been shown as stopped for a long while, and now the car is shown as P for pit. So no visual confirmation of that. I'm afraid we can't see the pit lane from where we are. And the race director, although he showed us while we were away at break the car being craned away, hasn't actually spotted that it is in the pits, or his cameraman hasn't spotted that it's in the pits. Martin Haven, Jeremy Shaw and Lord Neville Hay in the booth, watching the action with you wherever you are. Thank you for joining us, whether it's daytime where you are or nighttime here. Jeremy, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm just not quite sure where that 5 o'clock somewhere is. Vanuatu maybe, or Sydney, or not sure. Romain Dumas with a highly sophisticated, personalised bottle there. An old placky bottle with a bit of gaffer tape with his name felt tipped on. Frankly, that's not the sort of standard of preparation I expect from Porsche Neville Hay. That's the sort of standard I expect from me.
Yes, well, frankly, the thing that I'm finding quite fascinating is that everything so far seems to suggest that this is a battle that is going to go on steadily until either one of these cars has some sort of problem. Because I don't think at the moment there is any way that you could say that it's likely that the two pursuing Audis are going to actually give up. And as far as Bam's concerned, there's absolutely no question about it. That is still a very, very quick car.
Now, somebody asked me a long while ago on Twitter, and I haven't got my Twitter app open at the moment, and so I can't remember.
Yeah.
When was the last time 3 rookies won at Le Mans?
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And I couldn't tell you. Earl Bamber, Nick Tandy and Nico Hulkenberg are all premier...
Well...
Aston is still in the garage, replacing a lot of parts. Our plan right now will be to solo you on these tires. You will only be doing a double on these tires.
So there's the word from Pratt & Miller, the factory Corvette team, to Jordan Taylor, who is chasing Jimmy Bruni's Ferrari. And the Aston Martin that he's referencing is the car of Fernando Reis that was the pole sitter, that was the leader. And as they said, they are facing a lot of parts. What they mean is a lot of work to replace a lot of parts, and that is going to be a long old job. The car's now dropped out of a podium spot, so we've now got Ferrari, Corvette, Porsche, because Richard Leeds, in the only Porsche left in the race, well, in this class anyway, the only factory Porsche left, has moved up to 3rd spot. Jordan Taylor then, again with the bit between his teeth, just as his teammate Tommy Milner did, just as his teammate Ollie Gavin did. They know there's only one car, but hey, that hasn't stopped Audi winning in the past. No. It's not going to stop them either if they have half a word to say about it. And as we look at the pictures here of one of the Audis going by, Dawn's roseate fingers are starting to stretch their way across the sky.
Yeah, aren't they just? And certainly some of the drivers are going to be pleased for that. Mind you, we've seen a pretty relentless pace all the way through the night by all of the major contenders in all of the classes. So, you know, nothing has really settled down. Certainly good lead now for Jimmy Bruni in GTE as a result of the brake change by the Corvette and the incident for number 99 Aston Martin. Jimmy Bruni, we don't know whether they have changed the brakes on the number 51 Ferrari.
Haven't seen it. They had a flap in the rear wheel arch, is about the biggest drama they've got. And incidentally, Ferrari also leading in the AM class. Alexander Bazov in the SMP Racing Ferrari, ahead of the Aston Martin of Pedro Lamy. That's the 98 car that was the pole sitter. And Bill Sweedler's Ferrari in 3rd, ahead of Pat Long in the 77 Dempsey Racing Ferrari. So actually the AM class has had a remarkably, oh, you see, again, I'm leading myself into the same trap, aren't I, that I did with Rebellion. Yeah. Yeah, I will avoid cursing the hex on anybody in the class. 72 then your race leader in the AM class. 66 is in. This is Kuba Maziak at the wheel of the 10th placed Ferrari in the AM class.
It's like a front brake change there for number 66 Ferrari. That was a car that had to fire a little while ago. One of two cars.
One of the Ferraris that set light to itself. Yeah. Less dramatically than the burning Porsches. We've lost 2 Porsches in this race, and we nearly lost one after qualifying from engine fires. The qualifying engine fire, we believe, was traced. They got nice groovy interior lighting, haven't they, on the G-Drive car? Was traced to a human error where the oil filler was not completely properly replaced. At least that's what the team believe. But the other 2, as yet unexplained. Out goes the 28 G-Drive car. That's Pipo Derani. Now, does he stay at the wheel? I think we didn't see a driver change. So 28 goes back out. But the other G-Drive car, 26, I'm afraid that is just steadily sagging down the order. In fact, we have
26. 26 cars running in second place.
No, I beg your pardon. Yes, yeah. It's not the G-Drive car, is it? It's the Tirio by TDS car that's. Yeah. But again, it seems to have disappeared down the order, and yet seems to have been craned away from its place of final repose, and still on our timing screen claims to be in the pit lane. Yeah,
it is in the pits. We saw a glimpse of it just a few moments ago. They are working on that car, so it was obviously craned out. They're going to be able to get the car back to the pit lane where they can now work on that machine and try and get it back out, but certainly lost an awful lot of ground. At the moment, only 6 laps it's lost thus far. I'm afraid it's like to be several more before that car is back underway again.
Yeah, it's taken 6 laps to get it back to the pits, so whatever work needs doing may take the same, or who knows.
Yeah, the first 2 cars then in P2 moving up to 9th and 10th places now, because Dominic Kreihammer's number 13 Rebellion Racing P1 car is still in the pit lane, as is the sister car number 12. So those 2 both slipping down the order overall, and that moves Matt Howson into the 9th position overall in the KCMG Oreca Nissan, and he leads from the Ligier of Roman Ruzinov's G-Drive entry by a lap.
Speaking of Ligiers, here is the ESM Ligier with its HPD power unit, one of the pair of cars run by Extreme Speed Motorsport, normally to be seen in the lurid green and black livery of Patron Tequila, but because of advertising laws in in France as opposed to the EU, the American team, who are season-long World Endurance Championship entrants, cannot run it in their habitual livery, and as a result, they have done a deal with longtime media partners Rolling Stone. They're not on the cover of the Rolling Stone, rather the cover of the Rolling Stone is on them. So Johannes van Overbeek, the kind of team supremo, has bailed out. I didn't recognize the helmet getting in. I wonder whether they have gone back to Ed Brown in their cycle of drivers. Seem to think that John Fogarty was in beforehand, but I'm no Paul Trustweller, nor would I claim to be.
I wasn't paying attention to that, I must admit. I wouldn't have thought Ed Brown would get in as we're going back to, as the sun is coming up. I'd have thought they'd keep Ed until he gets fully light again, and then put him at the wheel of the car.
Richard Leitz, the Austrian driver, currently in 3rd place in the GTE Pro class. Gap between 1st and 2nd, Jimmy Bruni to Jordan Taylor, 1 minute 12 seconds on the last lap. And that is the biggest gap that we've had in the GTE Pro class in, how many hours have we had in the race now? That's a big old gap. We're nearly 15 hours in, 14 and a quarter hours in, rather. And, you know, the gap has been inches, seconds, very rarely minutes at the lead of that GTE Pro class. 12 hours in, it was 3.1 seconds first to second. That's what you call a race. It's what you call a race 12 minutes in, frankly. Minute and 15 second stop-go penalty has been applied to the Krone Racing Ligier Judd.
To add insult to injury, that car's been in and out of the pits and had a couple of spins and all sorts of incidents, hasn't he, in and out of the racetrack.
And this one, I'm afraid, is entirely self-inflicted. Slap in the face for speeding in the pit lane. And a minute 15 stop and go, that won't be a first offence either. And he's not on our page one of the timing screen. It goes down to 29th place. So I can't tell you whether it's Tracy Crone, Nick Johnson or Joao Barbosa who incurred the penalty. I also can't tell you whether it's Tracy Crone, Nick Johnson or Joao Barbosa who will be serving it. Thierry by TDS team working hard on the back of this car. And of course, around the rear crash structures, all the supports for the wings, the tunnels, the underfloor, the under tray, the suspension, the gearbox. Crash damage tends to travel a long way in these cars. It's designed to. Everything is designed to protect the occupant of the monocoque. And so bits tend to be frangible and break off to absorb energy.
Copy, Lucas. In left button, blocks this lap. We control temperature. Yeah, copy that. The track is down to 19 degrees. The track is down to 19 degrees.
Thank you very much. Track temperature 19 degrees, and what was it, 26-ish, 28-ish at the start of the race, I believe. And probably climbed a little higher as well. It was quite a long sunny day yesterday. In comes Lucas Di Grassi. This is the number 8 Audi that crashed and lost a lap in the pits, avoiding very slow traffic that was in the yellow zone as he came down towards Indianapolis, north of 200 miles an hour. Suddenly found a road full of GT cars doing, well, about 160 miles an hour, less than that. He managed to... car managed to skate down the barriers without doing major damage, avoided all the near stationary cars, but did lose its nose. 3 minutes lost, was back out in a safety car queue long before the safety car was pulled back in. Rapid service, and Di Grassi stays in. He continues, same driver, same tyres, just a full tank of diesel, and away he goes.
Yes. Funky, not quite sure what happened there, because that car was last in, according to my notes, on lap 213. It's now lap 231. It can't have done 18 laps on a stint.
Seems unlikely. He did say the low fuel light was on. Normally it wouldn't necessarily get to bingo fuel before you brought the car in. Not at this stage. You know exactly how much it's going to use based on its fuel consumption averages so far. Unless something, yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine why you'd get another 5 laps out of the car now.
Very strange, that.
Yep.
You mean, financially, we've looked at a lap, perhaps, with cars back to doing 13 laps, 14 laps, but 14 and 5?
No, all I can think of is it must have made the previous stop was very early into its stint, and I just didn't notice it. That's all I can think of. Although it's showing as 18 pit stops, which is what I have on my chart here as well. So I don't know. You got me there.
Okay. Well, he has pitted after his 231st lap. So we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Meanwhile, Audi number 9 on pit road now. This is the 3rd place car, Felipe Albuquerque. And is he due to bail out? Must be due fairly soon for a driver change.
No, it's no 2 stints on that car.
Okay, so this will be a triple. They may go quadruple, and who knows, there might be a quintuple stop somewhere in the darkness for Audi, although that sort of magic window may well have vanished now as dawn starts to come. However, the air temperature won't rise for it won't properly rise for at least another couple of hours of sunlight. So even though the sun is up, you don't really feel the heat of it on the track for another good couple of hours. There's so much forest here and so many buildings where there isn't forest that the shadows are long.
Wait a minute, 200, I can't read my writing. That was on schedule for Luca Di Grassi, 218, not 213, the last pit stop. So that's right on schedule for Luca Di Grassi in car number 8. He still is 1 lap down to the ultimate pace and has been pretty much just tracking along in that same deficit to the leaders.
But it's going to be very hard in an identical car to find a lap again on those leaders. When he came back out in the safety car queue, he was very close behind the leaders and somehow managed to get in front of them. And now he's got to catch another 8.5 miles while going at the same speed and only fractionally quicker when he gets the chance than those in front of him. So it's going to be a long old crawl. And then when he gets on the lead lap, he's still a lap behind because he's still got to make up the entire lap again. So if it takes him 8 hours to get on the lead lap, he's not going to get onto it a second time.
No way.
Looking at your classification there, Mike Conway and Kazuki Nakajima for Toyota 7th and 8th at the moment. Matt Howson in 9th place now in his LMP2 leading car. So that KCMG car is climbing higher up the order. Roman Rusinov 10th, second in LMP2. Nat Berton 3rd for Murphy's Prototypes, 3rd in LMP2 and in 11th place.
Yeah, and the race leader, Earl Bamber, we can expect him in another couple of laps. 3 minutes 20.23 last time around by the Kiwi youngster, and just doing a fine job taking over that car from
Nico Hulkenberg.
No, Nick Tandy was the last guy to drive
he was
it.
in before, yes he was.
And he's now done a double stint in that car. This is the end of a triple, so 3 full fuel loads on that car number 90. And Earl Bamber just maintained the took the lead again on lap 201. We're on lap 235 now. And again, this number 19 car has been in control pretty much for the last several hours of this race.
Since the sun went down, really, and this is what Audi are saying, with the cooler temperatures, they're definitely in the frame. Driver change as Nat Berton gets in and Karun Chandok, or Nat Berton gets out and Karun Chandok gets into the Murphy's Prototype. This is the 48 car that currently lies in 1, 2, 3rd place in the LMP2 class. So lying 3rd, Mark Patterson, one of the really consistent and quick gentleman drivers in the LMP2 class, like Simon Dolan. Very rarely makes a mistake, very rarely see the car in trouble. He gets in, gets out with a hell of a big smile, and the car generally seems to be in very good fettle when he leaves it to his teammates. And
he's also the oldest driver in the race at age 63. He did make a mistake on Wednesday, put the car into the wall at the Porsche curves, and he was very upset with himself as a result of that. But I tell you what, he's really bounced back really, really well indeed. I mean, he's kept his wits about him, driven really good stints for this team. And in difficult conditions now when it's just getting light.
Yep.
So hats off to Mark Patterson, at the age of 63. Very, very impressive.
Well, actually, team boss Greg Murphy made the point that he was a silver driver based on his hair colour rather than necessarily his ability.
Yeah.
So, and he was very upset with himself. You rightly say on Wednesday. I have to say by Friday night, the whole team were in very good spirits and really looking forward to this race. G driver in. This is the 26 car, which is your 2nd place car in the LMP2 category. So 3rd place have just been in to hand over to Karun Chandok. Driver change here as well. Roman Rusinov will get out of 26. And is it Julien Canal or Sam Bird? I have to say, I wasn't particularly looking at the helmet. I didn't think it was Birdie.
No, it is Bird, I'm sure.
Okay, well, we will wait and see what the helmet signifier tells us. 91 Porsche on pit road right in front of him. He's come in from 3rd in the GTE Pro class, Richard Leeds. Jeremy's writing down a mental note of that.
Of what?
Richard Leeds coming in 3rd in the GTE Pro class.
Oh, did he? Right.
Yep. Because I know you need to know these things.
Cool.
Fernando Reis is now slumped to the bottom of the class. So that's 99 Aston Martin still on pit road after what was a routine brake change and then a very non-routine using a car to stop. The car in case being the Thierry by TDS car. There's your race leader. Looks even younger than his 24 years, doesn't he? And a very fast young man. Won the Porsche Cup Asia Scholarship 2 years ago the prize for which was a free drive in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup in 2014. Won that in the final doubleheader at COTA in Austin, Texas. And then, as a result of that, went into the selection process for the LMP1 program. And as a result of that, came out on the top of the selection process for the LMP1 program. And so, in 2 years, from starting in one of the satellite championships, he has earned himself a drive at the very top of Porsche's motorsport pyramid.
Yeah, he's worked hard to get where he is. So karting initially, then I'm pretty sure he did Formula V in New Zealand, then certainly Formula Ford, and he won the Formula BMW Asia Championship in 06. Moved up into the Toyota Racing Series in New Zealand, which is Brendan Hartley came out of that, and a whole bunch of other drivers as well. Came second in that on a couple of occasions.